Hi everybody, Susan Sanford from Vineyard Complementary Medicine. This evening I'm going to talk about a basic introduction to acupuncture in Chinese medicine. The way that I'm going to set it up is I'm going to talk about really some of the main definitions that pertain to acupuncture and Chinese medicine, and then talk about how they relate to one another and how this applies to how acupuncture works and how Chinese medicine works. The terms that we're going to go through include yin and yang, qi, the organs from a Chinese medicine perspective, and how they differ from the internal organs that we know in Western medicine. The channels or the pathways a lot of us are familiar with, and the pathways that you see along the body, along your arms, legs, and your torso. How the acupuncture points fit into the treatment, and talking about how tongue and pulse are often integrated into acupuncture treatment and diagnosis. So first we're going to talk about yin and yang. Yin and yang, a lot of you are familiar with the symbol that we actually have in our logo, and the concept of yin and yang is really about balance. I can give you a few examples, but it's really the basis of Chinese medicine, and the goal of Chinese medicine, of really any healing that's happening, is about creating balance. So some examples of yin and yang include light and dark, male, female, inside, outside, dry, damp, black and white. So what do they mean from a yin and yang perspective? It's about opposite yet complementary. Think of a seesaw. So you can't have dark without light. If you have too much dark and not enough light, that creates an imbalance. So think of those two opposites on a seesaw, and it really takes a nice balance of the two to have, harmony, to have balance, homeostasis, and the concept of health in one's body. So that's yin and yang. The next thing we're going to talk about is qi. Qi is, in Chinese medicine, considered the vital energy. It's a multitude of energetic functions. It can be, it's basically your vital energy that makes you you, that allows all the processes and functions to work, within your body. It's about how your body, really interrelates with the world around you. It is, tangible yet immaterial. It can be really a culmination. The way that I was actually able to conceptualize qi is you take everything that's you. You take your blood, your hormones, your fluids. You take your breath. You take the food that you take into your body, and you put it into a big cauldron. And you stir it up, and you kind of mix it all together, and then you've got your spirit, you've got the intangible things too, and that's really kind of your vital qi. And qi, you want a balance of your qi to have health. The organs in Chinese medicine, you got your heart, your liver, your kidney, your lung, your spleen, your pericardium. Those are the main organs. And they are paired, so those are the yin organs, and they do have a yang organ paired with them. The way that the organs work in Chinese medicine is different because they're more symbolic of a set of interrelated functions. So completely different from Western medicine. It's not the hunk of meat in here that we call our liver. It's not the two little things for our kidneys. That's, is basically one specific organ with a specific function, and that's Western medicine. Chinese medicine is different. Sometimes there's some overlap in the functions of the organs, but they're really symbolic. So your liver, for example, I'll give an example. For liver in Chinese medicine, what they figured out, ancient Chinese practitioners figured out that your liver energy is responsible for, say, the smooth flow of your energy and your qi in your body. Hence the smooth flow of your emotions. If you have stuck emotions, a lot of anger, you'll have your liver energy isn't really functioning and isn't balanced. Your liver energy is also in charge of your sinews and your tendons. So it's different. A lot of similarities. People with like liver imbalances, there's emotions that are associated with the liver. Could have like, issues with like anger stuff or kind of, stuck energy. But the point is that they're different, completely different than Western medicine. And the way that the organs work is that they're assigned, each organ is assigned a channel or a pathway, and that goes on to our next definition. So the channels and pathways, there's 12 main ones throughout the body, and each of those channels, really kind of like, flows through each organ, connects the organs with one another. An example, an analogy that I can use about how organs and channels relate to one another is, I used to use, and I do still like to use, like a map or a roadway. So as you can see, and I don't know if you can see, the pathways, on a typical acupuncture channel is that they flow. And, if you want a smooth flow of your chi, your vital energy, then you got to make sure traffic is flowing. You may have a traffic jam somewhere, and it's kind of, making things stuck. You may not, and therefore you're not going to have enough energy in another area. What I'm going to talk about tonight, as far as an analogy goes, is think of, instead of just roadways, think of waterways. So if you have a set of, interconnected waterways, and say each waterway, the energy or the characteristic of that, that waterway is associated with a very specific organ, or say a warehouse of energy. And they're all interconnected, and they all affect one another. So if there's a disruption in the flow of say this waterway and the warehouse that goes with it, it's going to affect the other ones along the way. So if you don't have enough water flowing through one way, things are going to dry up, not going to flow smoothly. Then again, if you have an issue where you have a flooding and you've got too much going, again, that's going to cause other issues as well. So you want a nice flow between the waterways. The waterways are associated with these different warehouses of energy, and each of these warehouses has a different personality, a characteristic, and a different function. And they all need to really work harmoniously with one another. So what does acupuncture do? So acupuncture will access major points that help to redirect the flow of traffic. So there's pathways, there's organs, and then there's specific points along each pathway that we've learned that have different functions, and it are actually the easiest way to access your energy. And then we can act almost like a traffic cop. And we can then direct traffic one way, stop the flow from another way, and make sure that we're really redirecting so that there's smooth flow. When there's smooth flow, there's balance. So there's not only balance in the flow of the pathways, but there's also balance in each of the organs that are all working together. Think of like a community, which is your body. And you have all of these different warehouses of energy that are working together. And when everything is flowing and when everything is balanced, you have harmony and you have health. So when you do have an acupuncture treatment, the most well-known tool that we use as acupuncturists is the needles, or if you have a phobia, we'll call them pins. And then we can access your chi or your energy through those pins. There are other ways. We can use hands-on, where you do acupuncture. You can do body manipulation, called, basically acupuncture massage is called tuina. There are so many tools. We have cupping, we've got heat, which is the moxibustion is a heat therapy we use. There's all kinds of tools, but the most well-known are the needles, and that's how we access and direct the energy to where we feel we need to be. How do we know what we need to do? Well, we ask lots of questions. You'll see on our intake question that we want to know everything. We want to know everything about what goes in. We want to know how it comes out. Again, it's flow. We want to see how your body is processing the food and fluids. We want to know about your breathing. We want to know about your movement. We want to know about your sleeping, your diet, because all of these affect how your energy flows. We can also, sometimes acupuncturists will look at your tongue and will feel your pulse, and that will really give us insight about the quality and the quantity of the energy in your chi, and how, actually there's points in the tongue and then there's spots on your pulse that will tell us which organ is affected or which organs need to be balanced. That's a great start. And then ultimately our goal is to help you get back to your true constitution. We are not all born equal. We are not all born with the same amount of chi. Everybody's born with a different amount. We can, call it genes, call it hereditary. But when you're born, you are given a set amount of chi or energy. Think of it as a bank. Some of us are born with more money. Some of us are born with less. It doesn't make us better or worse, or neither the same. It's just different. So some of us have to work harder to really kind of build up our energy to where we need to be, and others, others don't. So some people are born with a different amount of energy and chi, and it's a bank. So sometimes if you work too much, you study too much, you run yourself ragged, you'll spend down that bank account, right? You'll spend down that chi, and it really needs to be replenished and nourished. And that's what acupuncture does. If you have pain or any imbalance with anything, sleeping, digestion, obviously we talked about pain, any imbalance means that there's a disruption in the flow of your energy. And talk to your local acupuncturist to find out where this disharmony lies, and then we'll make a plan for you to get back into balance. So I encourage everybody, get to know your tongue, look at your tongue. A perfect tongue is a newborn baby's tongue. So always, compare yourself, and if you see any differences in your tongue, or if you see any differences or imbalances in your body, give your local acupuncturist a call, and we will get you back into balance. Thank you, everybody. This is Susan Sanford from Vineyard Complementary Medicine. If you would like more information about how acupuncture can work for you, please go to our website, vcmpt.com. Thank you so much.